Hello students, welcome to another English class, and today we continue with the topic of globetrotting. Specifically, we're going to be looking at how to travel responsibly. That is important because, I'll talk about that later. We have a speaking lesson today. Specifically, we will be talking about advantages and disadvantages. And I will give you an example of how to speak about advantages and disadvantages using the topic of tourism. First of all, how do we talk about the advantage of things? Here are some useful phrases to get you started. The main advantage of something is something. Another advantage is this. In my opinion, something is better than something else. One of the best things about something is that that thing does something else. I would much rather do something. So now let me show you how to use these sentence starters in a speech. So I will be talking about the advantages of tourism. Hello everybody, my name is Albert and I want to talk to you about the advantages of tourism in Malaysia. The main advantage of tourism is we get to attract a lot of foreign capital. Yes, all these tourists, they come from richer countries. They have loads of money in their pockets and they need a place to spend it. Why not? We attract them over to our country so they can spend all of your money and we milk them dry. Another advantage is we get to promote our local culture. All these people coming from those Western countries, it's such a boring place. We see it all the time on TV. They need somewhere fresh. So they will come, let's say to Malaysia, and they experience a wonderful multicultural nation. They will go back, tell all their friends about their unique experience, and then even more of those rich foreigners will come and spend their money, and we get rich. In my opinion, having tourism is better than having industrialization. All those factories, look at them. They are polluting the air. They are polluting our oceans. They are polluting our rivers. They're not good. When we have tourism, the beauty of our nature is what attracts people to come. So there is an incentive for locals to preserve nature because that's where their money comes from. One of the best things about tourism is that, One of the best things about tourism is that we don't have to pretend to be very developed, to be very atas. We can just be ourselves. And all of these people coming from other countries, they will come and they will appreciate that we are different, that we are unique, that we are truly Malaysian. I would much rather have tourism than industrialization any day. The pollution that comes from industrialization is no joke, and it will affect the long-term health of our citizens. Whereas tourism, we get to promote the beautiful nature that we have now and the importance of preserving it. Therefore, there are a lot of advantages to tourism, and we should see more of it in our country. Thank you very much for listening. This is Albert, signing off. Hope that you found the example earlier useful. And remember, like and subscribe because that would be magnificent. Before we talk about the disadvantages of tourism, I think it's very important for us to see the effects of tourism, the negative effects of tourism. And the video that I'm going to show you next talks about the negative effects of tourism in Bali, one of the most visited places on the earth.
Bali has already have tourism more than 100 years. All the monies come, but 70% go out from Bali. Because the business is not operated by Balinese people. The way thinking have to change. Not enough water, not enough electric, not enough road, traffic and rubbish. Number one problem in Bali.
So I paused the video because I want us to reflect on this a little bit. This video is about Bali, but it can also be very true for some parts of Malaysia. 70% of the tourist money collected in Bali leaves the country because the resorts, hotels, and tourist attractions are owned by foreigners. How many foreign-owned hotels, resorts, and attractions do we have in Malaysia? We have a lot. Hilton, all the big hotels. You have Legoland and all the other imported theme parks. A lot of the money that gets earned on our land actually leaves. So isn't really that good. Fortunately, our country is managed a little bit better. As you can see in the video, the common people have problems with water and electricity, and they have big hotels and resorts that consume all of that fresh water and all of that electricity. How is that fair for the local people?
Rivers are essentially the toilets of Indonesia. They're on the backs of hotels, villas. With this lack of waste management that we have on the island, our rivers in Bali have turned into garbage dumps. These guys, unfortunately, can't be recycled. This is a one-time use, and it has a lifetime behind it. You know, it lives longer than our grandkids, kids.
And as you can see from this part of the video, rubbish, trash, junk just gets dumped into the rivers and flows out into the sea. That's another one of the worst effects of tourism. And you see that in Malaysia as well. We don't even have to blame tourists. Our own people, our domestic travelers, they leave rubbish behind every time. Look at our Bazaar Ramadans, look at our Pasar Malams. After one of those events, it's always the surrounding area gets filled with plastic waste, and the plastic waste, like what they say in the video, is gonna outlive even your grandchildren. How is this tourism thing fair for the local people? And we have to seriously think about how us as Malaysians, how we handle our rubbish. Most importantly, guys, do not leave your rubbish. Put it into a dumpster, trash can, proper place for disposal.
Because of COVID, people have more time. There's this community out there that wants to clean and press the reset button on Bali before we open up to international tourism.
Economic and ecology is not two separate things. We understand that we live from the nature. We cannot damage the nature. Specifically in Bali, the concept is nature and culture tourism. That's our asset. That's what we sell. We cannot shit where we eat, right? Post pandemic ini tentu ada perubahan-perubahan perilaku, baik perubahan daripada pariwisata, turis, itu harus memberikan manfaat kepada masyarakat Bali. We want to everybody peace in Bali. Jadi tidak mau juga merusak pariwisata, merusak our nature in Bali.
As you can see from the second half of the video, the Balinese people are cleaning up their rivers, and they are trying to press the reset button before they open up again for foreign tourists to visit. I'm sure a lot of Malaysians are doing the same for our country. We're trying to keep our rivers clean, we're trying to keep our environment clean, and that is what attracts tourists, right? We have our eco-tourism that's very popular here. Visit and see our orangutans, visit and go to our rainforests, enjoy the clean oxygen that comes from the green lung of the world. But the problem is, with too many tourists, we may get situations where rubbish gets dumped all over the place, prices of things going up, and locals being squeezed out of tourist destinations. Too expensive for the locals. Which is why when we are being tourists ourselves, we need to be very conscious about how we can be responsible travelers, and we need to be careful with what we leave behind in the countries that we visit. Let us just leave our footsteps in the beautiful places that we visit rather than our trash, our toxic attitude, or anything that is detrimental to the local culture. So how do we talk about disadvantages? Here are some sentence starters to help you out. The main disadvantage of something is something. Another disadvantage is something. In my opinion, something is worse than something else. One of the worst things about something is that something does something bad. Alright, so let me bring back Albert. Hello everyone, it's me, Albert, again. So now I want to talk about the disadvantages of tourism. Yes, there are disadvantages. The main disadvantage of tourism is that all these foreign brands, hotels, fast food chains, they are not contributing to the local economy. Sure, they hire locals for the low-level jobs, but most of the money that's made gets sent back to the parent company and to the profit of the CEOs and executives in the main office. Another disadvantage is that too many tourists will put pressure on the price of items at popular destinations. Try and buy a bottle of mineral water at a popular tourist destination. Is the price of the water the same as if you were... Is the price of the water the same as other parts of the country? Or is it more expensive? In my opinion, tourism is worse than data-driven technology companies. Why invite other people into our country, especially during this COVID-19 situation, when we could be developing the next Google or the next Amazon or a tech company that we haven't even thought about? Our young people are very capable of solving many of our modern problems created by you and me, old people. Previous generations have left a lot of serious issues, and modern day technology may be the key to finally solving many of them. And our young people, they are the ones who need to be empowered to solve them. No better way than through data-driven technology. Now, one of the worst things about tourism is that it leaves a lot of rubbish behind. Take a look at our streets, especially in Malaysia where tourists love to visit. You will find a lot of rubbish on the floor, in the grass, in the longkang, in your mouth. Yes! So much rubbish. Therefore, there are many disadvantages of tourism. I urge everyone to think about better ways to develop our economy and to promote our culture, because there are many ways that we can do this with modern technology. My name is Albert, signing off. Thank you. I hope that you found Albert's examples useful. Feel free to rewind if you ever need to refer to the examples again. So here is your assignment: to record a 1-minute video and upload it into the Google Forms. Your video will be about these 3 modes of transportation: cruise ship, airplane, and car. Use one or more of these questions to make your video. There are 2 types of questions: easy and advanced. Which means of transportation would you prefer to use to go on holiday? Which means of transportation would you prefer to use for traveling long distances? Now, the easy questions are for those of you who may not have a very good English proficiency. Now, for those of you with better English, you can try these questions. What are the advantages and disadvantages of each means of transportation for sustainable tourism? Can you think of any other means of transportation better for sustainable tourism to the ones in the pictures? Why? Now remember, to use the expressions shared earlier to show advantage and disadvantage. In addition, here are some useful vocabulary that you can use for your speech. Those of you doing the easy questions, these words will help you. Comfortable, convenient, fast, slow, tiring, safe, dangerous, travel sickness, fear of something, expensive or inexpensive, which means not expensive, abroad, weather conditions, parking problems, delays, sense of direction. For those who want to attempt the advanced questions, environmentally friendly, pollution, fuel consumption, carbon emission, passenger count, rubbish, food waste. Besides that, here's how you can do your speaking. First, write a script. In the script, you introduce yourself, talk about what question you are going to talk about the advantages, disadvantages, and in your conclusion, you can talk about your personal thoughts or hopes. Remember, do not read from the script. This is a speaking activity, not a reading activity, okay? It's not about how well you can read your script. Use the script as a guide, but don't be too tied down by it because it'll make you sound like a robot, and you are definitely not a robot. Next up, how do we show Malaysian hospitality? I guess you gotta find out in the next lesson.